I didn't start walking to get fit. I started walking because it was the only way for me to regain my health. I mean, we all know walking is good for us. We've heard it years and years. I just never knew how much positive impact it actually has on the human body until the last few years when I needed it really for survival. So today I wanted to share the deep benefits of walking on the human body. I found a few good ones that I wanted to share with you guys. So a quick disclaimer before I start. I am not a doctor. I simply want to share how walking impacted me and how I used it for therapy for my recovery and what I learned along the way. So let's get into it. Do you know what actually happens to your brain when you walk? And why most people don't realize how powerful it is? When you walk, your brain releases a chemical called a BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. What it does is promote the growth of new neurons and strengthen the existing connections. So think about it like a fertilizer for your brain. It literally helps your brain grow and repair itself. So here's one thing that got me when I was doing my research is that they say people that tend to have anxiety or depression, there was research done on them and they tend to have a lower BDNF in their bodies. So studies have shown that consistent aerobic exercises like walking done 3 to 5 times a week helps bring your BDNF up over time. So it's not like a one-time thing. It's really a long game. For it to work and have actual positive impact, you have to do it for a long period. So the second thing that I've learned regarding walking isn't just helping your brain. It also helps with your cortisol levels. So if you're not sure what your cortisol levels are or is, here it is. It's like an alarm system for your body. So cortisol is probably one of the most important hormones we have in our body. You know that feeling when you're rushing and you get hot, or when you're stressed before a presentation, when you're scared, that heart beating feeling that you get in your body. Sometimes you sweat, sometimes your heart is beating so fast you don't know what to do, and you're nervous, and all of those feelings, like you get hot and all those type of feelings, that is your cortisol levels going up. Now imagine that feeling all the time. Probably not great. So that's where walking comes in. So when your cortisol levels are way up, walking comes and helps you bring them down. So just a 20-minute walk shifts your whole nervous system from high alert to a more relaxed one. And that helps measurably lower your cortisol level. And you feel more energized, but without burning yourself out. So bonus tip number 1. They say walking in nature versus urban routes makes a huge difference. So walking in nature helps amplify the benefits of walking. So I have here a study from 2024 where they measured the cortisol levels of a few people through their saliva when they were walking in nature versus when they're doing an urban route. And what they found is that the majority of the participants that walked in nature showed a spike of 104% in their heart rate variability. So that's a direct sign in terms of how it affects their nervous system, and it shifted them into a more calmer, more regulated state when they walked in nature versus in an urban route. Their mood score actually increased more when they were also in nature versus when they were walking in an urban route. Doesn't mean that urban routes are not good or walking in an urban environment is not good. But it just says that basically going into a more a walk in nature or somewhere where there's trees, whether it's like an urban park with trees, has a better amplified effect on your walking benefits. Bonus number 2. So walking and rumination. So what is they say about walking and rumination? This one kind of blew my mind because I did not necessarily see the correlation between the two, but there is. So I'm going to share with you what also I found here in terms of the research. I want to make sure I'm not like saying things that are not quite what I found. So they say, well, first I'm going to talk about rumination. So we all know that feeling. It's a mental loop of like all the negative things that won't turn off. I talked about it in another video. It's a lot of thoughts of negativity, what you should have done, what you could have done better, what is going wrong, what is not going the way you want. So it keeps you stuck in a loop in your head where it's hard for you to get out sometimes. So, and most of the times you don't even realize it's happening until hours later. So that's rumination. So what walking does on rumination is, so there's a Stanford study that found that people who walked 90 minutes in nature showed a decreased activity in that part of the brain linked to that kind of repetitive negative thinking. So basically they're saying walking helps quiets it and literally just shuts it down. And you don't even need 90 minutes. There's a study that says just 30 minutes outdoors somewhere, whether it's an urban park with trees, has a huge impact on rumination. It helps reduce rumination by a lot. So how it works, the mechanism behind it is that when you're walking in nature or outdoors, it shifts your mindset and your energy towards outwards instead of inwards. So you start noticing things around, you start being in awe of different things. It shifts your thinking and your energy towards the outwards instead of focusing on the inwards. And that breaks the loop of the negative thoughts. So my personal story about walking. When I first started walking, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know all the medical terms about walking and all the deep hidden benefits about walking. All I know is that when I walked, whether it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I felt better after the walk. So when I say walking is my therapy, this is what I mean. So anybody that have spent some time at a hospital know that one of the first things that they tell you when you're at the hospital, one of the first things that they want you to do when you feel up to it is get up and walk. Now I understand why. For me, when I say walking was everything during my recovery, is because I lost a lot of strength and muscles, especially in my legs. And I wasn't strong enough to do a regular workout, but I still had to do something. So walking was the only thing that was safe enough for me to do and that was effective. The first thing I felt when I started walking wasn't peace or calm or anything like that. I would say it was more clarity. Like I had a lot more room in my head. Not meaning like I don't have any more of the bad thoughts or all the negative things sometimes that build up in your head or frustrations, but they were there. They were just more so in the back of the room instead of in front of my face. So walking brought that to me, brought a lot more clarity and a lot more room in my head to focus more on the positive versus all the negative. After a few months, I noticed some things change. I started noticing I could walk easier, I could walk faster, I could walk longer, and my coordination was a lot better. My endurance came back slowly, And all of that helped build some kind of strength in me. I wasn't where I was before the surgery, but I could feel the real progress happening. Somewhere along the way, I started noticing like the smaller things around me, things that we go through every day that we just don't notice anymore, mundane things. Every walk that I would take daily, I started noticing those small things. Whether it was like the quality of light in the morning, the burnt orange glow in the sky towards the sunset, the breeze, the hot and cold breeze sometimes that you feel, the trees changing seasons. I would see like every progression of all of those things daily, especially the trees. I would see everything coming in and going out every day. Seeing that every single day, it was all like small resets. I mean, none of those things fixed my problem or my problems, but somewhere along the way between the physical progress I was making and the small things I was noticing around me, I was finally paying more attention. And I was becoming someone that could face anything. There's something worth saying that doesn't get to be said enough. Walking works differently on the mind than other mental health practices. Not better, just differently. Example, so if you use meditation asks you to sit with your thoughts. If you use journaling asks you to articulate your thoughts, which are all valuable and work great. But sometimes your thoughts are way too loud for stillness, and sometimes you cannot articulate what you want clearly. So walking meets you where you are. It doesn't expect or demand anything except just starting and moving. Here's something fascinating about bilateral movements. It actually mirrors what happens in EMDR treatments. I'm gonna read exactly what I wrote about what EMDR is so I can explain and not mess up the words. So EMDR is a trauma treatment that uses rhythmic side-to-side stimulation to help the side of the brain process stuck memories. So the bilateral movements that are found in the EMDR and also in walking helps break you from that loop that you're in when you are walking. So the left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot helps you get out of your fog. It's gentle, it's repetitive, and it's alternating. And all of that is just processing through the body and not just the mind. So if you want to use walking not as fitness but more as maintenance, here's what I would tell you. First, I would say just go outside. That part probably matters more than anything, more than people would realize. Just go outside, take in the sun, take in the fresh air. It amplifies everything that you're doing. I know some people would say leave your phone at home, just be with yourself during your walk. I don't see it like that personally. I think I personally love walking with my headphones, listening to my music or podcast or even a show. I think all you have to do is just do what works for you. If taking your phone helps you be outside, then take your phone. If it's something else, take it. Just go outside. That would be the first step. The second thing I would say is don't set a distance goal, but more a time goal. So what I mean by that would be, instead of saying, okay, if I go walk today, I'm going to do 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers, or whatever kilometers you set in your mind. Don't do that. I would say start with a time goal, whether it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, just give yourself a time goal. And when that is done, go back home. If you're like me, if I set myself on a goal of 5 minutes, I end up doing maybe 10 or 15 minutes because I feel better. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I can do a little bit more. But just set a times goal instead of a distance goal. So the goal here is you're not training for anything, right? So it's just to create a habit of you walking and for your nervous system to get used to it. The third recommendation would be to go, it's gonna sound weird. I know it's gonna sound weird, but my third recommendation is go when you feel at your worst. Hear me out. So when I say when you feel at your worst, when you feel anxious, when you feel stressed, when you feel sad, when you feel you have low energy, that's exactly when you need to go. Like, that's when I especially force myself to go walk, when I feel all of those things. And even I go walk during my period cramps. Shout out to the ladies that have those. I force myself when I have a headache to go walk because it makes a huge difference after. So those moments when you force yourself to walk when you're not feeling 100% gives you two things. First, it helps your body to use the natural mechanisms that you have to help bring you relief. Second thing it's going to bring you is it's going to help you tell your body you're building a habit. When your brain is telling you stay inside, continue scrolling, that's exactly when you need to get up and go walk. And those walks are not like the most enjoyable ones. I'm going to be honest with you guys. They're not the most enjoyable, but they are the most necessary. And I promise you, you are going to feel better after the walk. Listen, I'm not telling you that walking fixed me. It didn't. Life is a little bit more complicated than that, and the mind also. But it did give me something on those days that felt out of reach, the days that I felt that I was stuck, the days that I felt that I wasn't moving, if you understand what I mean. It did bring me a sense of clarity, as I was saying earlier, and a sense that I could do something for myself that I can control for myself when I couldn't control so many other things. Some days, that's all I needed. I just needed something that was a win, something that I just needed to control for myself, that I could control myself, and it changed my whole day in a positive outcome instead of focusing on all of the negative things that was happening. A 20-minute walk is not a cure for everything in your life, but it is maintenance. And sometimes that's all we need. We just need to have maintenance in our life, and so that we can keep going. I would love to know if this helps you in any way, or if walking was something that you started to do in your life and how it impacted you. Share it in the comments. It may help someone that's watching the video. Also, if you are interested in these kind of topics, discussions about wellness, about mindset shifts, about life in your 40s, and lessons learned, then this is a channel for you. Subscribe so we can have more conversations like this, and I can share all of the stuff that I've learned over the years and that I'm learning right now. Subscribe so you don't miss anything. And if you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave it in the comments. I do read them. Thank you very much, and see you on the next one.